Hi folks, and welcome to our webinar sharing data layer between Android and iOS. My name is Pamela and I'm from JetBrains and I'll be your host for this evening. So this is the third webinar of our series celebrating the wonderful beta release of Kotlin Multiplatform Mobile. I want to begin our webinar with just a quick poll, just for fun, and please answer your questions, answer the poll in the on the right-hand side. So my first question is, have you attended some of our other webinars? And the possible answers are yes, both. If you're like a superhero, a Kotlin Multiplatform Mobile superhero, yes, only one. You're still a superhero in my eyes. And no, this is my first webinar. Welcome. So let's see what the answers are. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We have some, I see we have a lot of newbies. We've got about 56% are saying it's 52% saying it's their first webinar. Thank you so much for joining. This is wonderful. Welcome. For those that have that are not new to this series of webinars, welcome back. We're so glad you're here. Did you do your homework? Then another question just for fun is, what drink is keeping you hydrated during the webinar? Are you maybe team coffee, team tea, water, or soda? Put your answers in the poll on the other side. I don't even know if I'm supposed to point this way or this way, but you'll find it, I'm sure. So team coffee, team tea, team water, or team soda? Welcome, everyone. So it looks like Team Coffee is winning with 46%. Looks good. But Team Water is strong second. Team Tea is sort of okay, and we're keeping it healthy with Team Soda only at around 4. So it looks like Team Water is winning now that we've refreshed our views. So that's great that you're keeping hydrated in the healthy way. Well done, everyone. So I want to introduce Mohit Sharma. He's a developer advocate from MongoDB, and he'll be our webinar speaker for tonight. Hi, Mohit. You're muted.
Yes, I was just Hello, Pamela.
What drink are you having today, Mohit?
Sorry, I'm on the water side.
Keeping it real. Okay, great. Let's get started with the webinar. Remember, folks, please add your questions in the comment section. If you're on Twitch, you know what to do. And if you're on YouTube, you know what to do. We'll answer it for you. And Mohit is going to be available at certain portions of the webinar to answer your questions, but also some of his team are here, and they're going to also be answering some of your questions. Christian and Angela will be here, so they'll be answering some of your questions in the chat alone. So let's get started with Mohit's talk. Over to you, Mohit.
Thank you, Pamela, and thank you for asking all these questions. Very warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, I'm going to talk about how to share data layer between Android and iOS. My name is Mohit Sharma. I'm a developer advocate at MongoDB. My Twitter handle is CodeWorkMohit. Feel free to reach out to me after this share if you have any other questions on that. So let's get started. So let's talk about app development. App development. You heard it right. This is not a wrong slide. I'm not at a wrong webinar. Everything is good. I'm just trying to set up the context for everyone, as we just heard in the poll result that there are a few newbies here. Okay. Pamela, can you just share me the results of the poll questions around how to build a serverless apps using KML? Do you have the
Okay,
results for
we
that?
first have to run that one. So the question is, let me just find it quickly. Do you know how to build a serverless KMM app using Realm and Atlas App Service? Kate, if you can please run that poll for us. The answer is either yes or no, or a mysterious maybe. Maybe we'll throw that in with a ghost.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And until that point of time, you can be confused whether you're at the right webinar or not.
So 93% says no, but 7% says they know what they're doing. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then I think so. It will make more sense for everyone to get along with this. Okay, so let me talk a little about app development, but on a very high level. Okay, when you're doing an app development, what you're actually doing, I would say, you're just building features and bundling them together and shipping them out. And we would be replicating the same bundle on different platforms, whichever your business supports, with a minor, not a minor change, with a little change of the UI layer, right? That's what we have been doing all this time. But if we look at in this way that we are just repeating the same features on each and every platform, it seems crazy. But have you noticed this even before when you came to know about KMM? Maybe, maybe not. I was the one who was in the maybe not section. Okay. But let me try to go it on the other side. From my experience of building mobile apps for more than a decade, what I felt is uh, that most of the time we are just writing logic and data. The 60% is my opinion, but I would say like more or less this would be the same for you as well. And the 40% is just the UI over the top of that, right? But now with the KMM, developers are now enabled to share code across multiple platforms. But there is still one complex problem which needs to be solved for. That is data. In general, handling data or working with data is not really simple, which I'm going to talk about in further slides as well. That's why we are here in the webinar as well. And this is where MongoDB comes into play as a solution provider for all your data needs. And with our KMM approach, now you can share your data layer between all platforms. In general, I would say MongoDB is one-stop solution for all your data needs. With RHEL KMM SDK that integrates that is there on your device, integrates out of the box with Atlas device sync, and share all your data on Atlas Cloud, which is a database on the cloud, taking the code reusability to the next level. I've been talking a lot about what is data layer. Data is handling data is complex, but let's go a little into the in the context and try to understand what is data layer. If you look any app architecture from a very high level, this is how it looks like. You will have views which will be backed up by view models or presenters. By the way, if you are a modern developer like me, you might have XMLs, storyboards, Compose UI, or Swift UI in that, right? So this is the backend of the views, which is backed up by the view models or the presenter depending on your architecture, followed by a logic layer. Now the logic layer is a kind of an optional layer, depends on whether you really want to have it or not. You can do things like say, I want to convert all the prices to the upper ceiling or to the lower ceiling. Why don't I just get the data? Why don't I just merge two data together, right? These are the things which you normally do in the logic layer, but it is normally optional and depend and varies from app to app. Ultimately, this logic layers get all its data from the data source, which could be bifurcated into two sections, local and the cloud. Cloud is the data which you're getting via your APIs. And this data source, which consists of local and cloud, can be qualified as a data layer. But if we look into this data layer a little closer, it looks something like this, right? It is very hard and complex from a very high level, right? And if you go into much finer details, it's more complex even than this. So let me walk you through why it is very complex. So let us assume that you have a mobile device which has a local database in it. You might have, you might not have, but irrespective of that, you would be converting your native objects into JSON so that you can interact with your APIs. Once the data is sent to the API, now the backend will validate whether you have sent everything is good or not. If everything is good, you're off the hook. Server will give you a good response and you can show it to your UI. But if you're not that lucky, there could be an error handling. There could be a network timeout. There could be something like, say, for example, conflict resolution. You don't know what to do right now, right? And the worst part is your app might get crashed, which nobody wants, right? Over the period of time, I've realized that this is too much. And I've said, like, I have agreed with it. Like, this is part and parcel of my job. But I don't know what others thinks. Pamela, what are your thoughts on this? Do you also feel that it is part of a part and parcel of the job of being a mobile developer?
That looks really, really intense. That's a very intense diagram. And I wish that there was some way to make it a little bit more simple to handle failures and error handling and retries and all that stuff.
Oh, thank God you're on my side. And yes, we can make it simpler when we can get all of this and make it bit simpler when you integrate with MongoDB ecosystem. And this is how it looks like. You have the Realm mobile database, which is there on the device, which is a light weighted embedded database. It sits on your device, makes data available and fast regardless of your network connections. It's an object oriented database, so you don't need to have an ORM or a DAO layer to convert to and fro. You don't have to think how you have to save the data into the database. That's all gone for you. Now, this Realm Mobile SDK integrates out of the box with Atlas devisings. So, this is an intermediary layer which will take all your data from the device and put it on the cloud and save it into the Atlas. Atlas is nothing, as I mentioned earlier, is a cloud. It is a database on the cloud. And it's not just a database. There are a lot many other features which you can use, like functions, triggers, search, and whatnot. So let's do a little demo of what we are going to build today and see how MongoDB has simplified this problem. So let me bring up my emulators. Okay. Okay. And another last one, the iOS simulator. Okay, so today we are going to build a very simple app to help you understand how to share your data layer between various platforms. Here you can see I have three simulators or emulators open. Two are for the Android and one for the iOS. Okay, this is fully integrated with Atlas devising. So when you'll see something, everything should get reflected on all the other platforms. So it takes few inputs. One is your name. So for now, I'll just add MongoDB, your Twitter handle, MongoDB, and let me save that information. You see, it's all there in all the three devices. Okay, sounds fascinating, right? Now let me go and change it here. Let me update this value from here. I don't like capital M here. I would like to make it a small m. Oops, yeah, perfect. I think so. I've played enough. I've prayed enough for my demo to work perfectly fine. But there's one more trick which I have to show you. Let me turn off my internet. Internet on the device. Okay, perfect. Now what I'll do is I'll simply add one more data to it. Okay. Now, what do you think? What will happen? Will it get crashed, uh, or everything will good? Let's say it is handled there, but it's not reflected here. Okay. Now I don't like this Mohit S handle. I like to update that as well. So let me go and change this as well. Let me add full name for myself. Okay. That's done. But it's not reflecting in there. Now let me turn on my internet. Or before, let me make it a little more complicated. Let me go and update this as well. And I'll say it as such so that we'll see how powerful the ecosystem MongoDB ecosystem is. Okay, it's reflected everywhere. Now let me go here. Okay. Now let's wait. Oh wow, it has gone and synchronized everywhere. You see, this is the power of MongoDB Unreal. It has inbuilt conflict resolution for you, so you don't have to worry whether your device is on a good network or a low network. This is all done magically for you. There are certain rules for the conflict resolution. That's why we were able to sort out the conflicts between the data when I added my name handle, added new datas and everything. If these rules doesn't fit you, no worries, you can write your own rules as well. This is pretty much this is very much flexible, but this is the app we are gonna build today. Okay, so let me go to one more slide. Okay, before before I jump into the actual code, yeah, we can scan this QR code, which will take you to our GitHub repo. You can just save it. Anyways, this QR code will be there at the end of the slide as well. All the code is there on the GitHub repo. So right now you can just concentrate on the coding. Okay. Now let me bring my Android Studio. Okay.
Mohit, can we take a few questions first?
Yes, definitely. Why not?
Okay. So Robert is asking, is this using Work Manager for updating in the background?
No, it is not. You don't have to even go to that level. It's very simple. I'll show you in a while.
Okay. And VK Huda asked, does Realm or Atlas support wildcard query support like SQL or SQL?
Uh, I'm not really sure, but I think so, yes. But since I don't have the right answer, I can tell you one more place to ask this question. It's called MongoDB forums. You can just search on the Google and you can paste your queries there.
Okay, thank you. We'll get to S. Thomas's question a little bit later. Let's leave Mohit to show us the code. Yes.
Sure.
Thanks, Mohit.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. I hope you can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So before we jump into the actual code, I heard during the post that there are a few newcomers here. So let me quickly show you how to create a KMM app. It's fairly simple. You just need to install the KMM plugin in the Android Studio, which you can do it from the preferences. Once you have done with that, you have to just go to your files, select new project. At the end, you will see an option to create a KMM project. Please go. Yeah. So you'll see an option, something like this, create a Kotlin Multiplatform app. You hit next. Then you can write the name of your applications, your package name, few other details like minimum SDK. Then what would you like to call your Android app module, your iOS app module, or your shared module? By the way, all this have been covered by Pamela in great much detail in the first session, so feel free to go and check that out as well. For dependency manager, I'll switch to regular and I'll hit finish. Since it's gonna take some time to synchronize and everything, I have a fresh ready-made project here. One more thing which I would like to mention before we go into the actual coding, since I'll be focusing purely on how to show you the capabilities of the database, I have a pre-built UI using Jetpack Compose, which we are not going to touch in this session. Okay, so as you can see here, I already have that. Okay, and I have integrated with the view models so that we have a proper clean architecture as well. So all the things which we are going to do is we are going to do it from this layer itself. We won't be touching the UI layer at all. Okay, cool. So as you have seen earlier, we are trying to build this app, right? So we need to have a model for this app. So what do you see? A model has two properties. One is name, another is Twitter handle. So let me go and quickly add the model. Oh, oops, I forgot. We need to add the realm to the project first, right? Okay. So it's fairly simple. You need to follow 3 steps for that. Basically 2 step, third step is optional for you depending on how do you want to do it. First step, you need to add the realm plugin, which you can do it like this. Once the realm plugin is added to your project in the project level build configuration file, then I would like to enable the realm plugin into my shared data module, because we want to have our database shared across various platforms, right? So I'll just go in my build.grid on-site shared module, and you can see here I've added, I have enabled the plugin. I've enabled the plugin, and then I've added the dependencies for the rel and coroutines as well, because I need that as well. Because there's no fun building apps without coroutines, right? Okay. One more thing. If you're purely interested into just building using Realm as a local database, you don't need to use the library sync. You can just use the library base. But since we are taking it to the next level, I'll use the library sync altogether. And the last step is, which is optional if you need it, I'll go to my app module and I'll add the Realm dependency there as well, because I would like to use few properties directly into my app itself, Android app itself. This is totally optional whether you want to have it or not, depending on the kind of architecture or the segregation you would like to have within your project. For now, for the demo purposes, I would like to keep it simple, so that's why I've added this here as well. Okay. With this, our app setup, our Realm setup is complete. So now let me go and create a model class. So let me open the model class which I have created already. Let me go inside my shared module, inside common main. This is the right place to share all your models. I have a model class and I have a user class. The user class is fairly simple. You can ignore this for now. So I've added an ID. So let me rewrite it all together. How about now? Looks good, right? I have a user class which has an ID, name, a Twitter handle. Now, as I mentioned you earlier, Realm is an object-oriented database. So to use to leverage the power of Realm, we'll extend this class with Realm object, okay? And I will mark this ID as my primary key. Now with primary key, I can either write a random function or a UUID function, which will generate this ID for me and insert it here, or you can use the inbuilt function, inbuilt data type, something like this, then UUID dot random, and we are done. This is how we create this is how we create models which can be saved into the realm. So only additional change you need to do is you need to extend it with the realm object, and optionally you can use the realm data types if you want to. There are certain things wherein you'll have to mandatorily use realm data types, but for most of the cases, that won't be required. Okay, now I need to save this data into the database. So let me quickly go into my repo. Okay, now let me quickly wipe out all this. We'll do it together. Okay, now I need to save this into my database, correct? So first, let's have the instance of realm so that it can help me save this information into the database. I'll say private realm by lazy because Kotlin kind of helped me to be lazy. Now I can reuse all my code everywhere. So I'm happy with that. Let me create the realm instance. So I'll write realm dot open. It says it needs a configuration, right? So let me create a configuration here. Okay. So I'll write val config and I'll say realm configuration. Yes. Okay. It has a builder. Good. Okay. Let me. Okay. Builder is complaining it needs something. It needs schema. What are schemas? Schemas are nothing but the set of classes which you like to save into your database. So I'll quickly define my schema here as set of. I'll just get rid of this as my realm objects. Okay. And I'll simply pass it here. Let's make it a named parameter. Okay, good. Okay, now I would like to have a name of my database, right? So I'll call it realm local. Okay. In the previous webinar, I've heard people wanted to encrypt their database as well. You can do it with Realm very easily. So there is a key, encryption key. You can do it. For now, we don't want to do it. We just want to keep it plain and simple. Let me also add a logging level. I'll add it as log.all. And one most important thing, let's add the schema version, right? This is really helpful when you're trying to migrate from one version to another. Yeah. So our our realm configuration is complete. Let now simply pass it to the realm object, realm data configuration as config. Yep. That's all is required to set up your realm and you're done, right? Now what it has done, it has set up a realm on the device. So now you can save everything into your device database. Now let me write a small function to save that information. So let me write something like this. I'm gonna use my cheat sheet because I want to use the same function name as I've used it in my view model, okay, so that we don't miss anything. And I'm gonna pass my user object. Okay, I'm gonna use my realm instance here, and I'll say right. Okay, it's complaining again, but this complaint I think so is very familiar to most of the Kotlin developers. It needs a suspend function because this write is done on a different thread. Okay, so that's good enough. Now let me save this information and put it into the database. So I'll use copy to realm. Okay, and I'll simply save this information and I'll change the policy. How will I like this? I will change it to all. Okay, why I did this? Because when I was updating the information, there would be a conflict between the IDs. I don't want to handle that for now for the demo purposes. So I would simply want to overwrite that data. So I've written it as, but there are different configurations which you can use, right? Okay. So with this, you can save the information into the database. Just 2 lines. Fairly simple, right? Now let's see how we can get this information. Okay, so there could be different ways of getting the information. For now, I like to get it as a list, like I want to manually get all the stream information. You see the button here, pull to the latest, but when we are doing the demo, everything was coming in because it was integrated with flow. That I'll go into the later section. Okay, so for now what I'll do is I'll write another suspend function. I'll like to keep it on the another thread. I'll say user as a list. Okay, I'll pass on the list of users. Okay, now again same thing. Now since I'm pretty conscious what I'm doing on which thread, I'll jump to the different thread now. Okay, and I'll write my realm query. Somebody asked me whether I can use the while queries here or not. There are different ways of doing it within the realm as well. Okay, so let's say for example you want to say select star from user. Okay, you can simply call it get users. So like what we are going to do right now. Okay, so in a sense you can run while queries. So sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, I want to have my return type as users. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much. I don't have any arguments for now, but if you have, you can pass it on here. Okay, now my system started to. You see here, there are query parameters. You can define your query parameters, something like whatever, like underscore ID equal to dollar and 0, and you can pass your args here if you have let's say for example 1 here. Okay, something like this. Okay, but for now we don't have any args. We just want to get the complete user. We can do that, and then we can simply say find. Okay, this gives me the list of users. Okay, I want to map it a little bit as well. Okay, so let me do something like this. I'll map it and I'll just say, no, never mind. We'll keep it like this for now. Okay. Okay. So now get list of users. I can connect it with my view model as well. So here you can see I have, as I mentioned earlier, I plan to show you how to use flows as well. So for now, you can just integrate it like this, and then you can call your function get user as a list, which will come on go. Oh, for some reason, okay, it started to complain now. Let me see what I've done. Yes, there was a typo in the name. Sorry, my bad. Okay, and voila, that's all. This will emit the information onto the UI as soon as the user taps on the pull to latest button. Okay, now let's take it to the next step, right? Every time putting, pressing that pull to latest is not really helpful, right? Or nobody wants to do it. We are all lazy, right? Okay, at least I'm lazy. Please don't take it wrong if I'm calling you lazy. Okay, so let me comment this out again. Okay, I'm just using few keyboard shortcuts to uncomment. Okay, now this will also contain, yes, we are going there. Okay, now we have the user as a list, but we also want to have this as a flow, right? So it's fairly simple. It's very similar to what we did earlier. We'll simply say get users as flow. Okay, no parameters for the query. I'll say for now as flow of list of users. Okay. Okay. Now again, I want to move it to another thread. I'm like that. So I'll write save. Okay. Now we want to query with realm. Okay. Realm dot query. Okay. Same. This time I'll not pass the class type, I'll simply pass it here, something like this, and then dot as flows. That's it. You don't have to do anything. Then let me map my results. Okay, I want to pass it as the list of objects. So yeah, that's it. That's all is required to make it flow as a flow, right? No hassle, nothing. Everything comes out of the box. Okay, there's one more trick which I want to show you. You know, if you have been an Android developer, you must have seen, we have a recycler view. Okay, that was before Jet Compose, right? We had a recycler view wherein you have to update the objects at a certain position, right? You want to know whether my list is deleted or created, whatever, whatnot. Okay, so there is a small trick which I can show you here, and that would be very interesting. Okay, okay, my autocomplete is not working, so let me see. Okay, no worries. I'll add it myself. So is initial list. So basically, what I was trying to show you with autocomplete is that it gives you the list of results, what are coming in, and showing you what to do, right? So let's say, for example, somebody removed some data from the server, and now you want to know, okay, whether it's removed or the result has been updated. You just want to get all that information. So what I was trying to say with Realm, that all comes out of the box. Okay. So let me do it like this. Okay. So okay, now you can get, okay, this was my initial set of results. You can put a nice animation or loader kind of to do this. If there are lists are updated, you will get the updated sensor and you can do the magic over there as well. This is pretty handy when you're trying to do some animation or showing an update on the user. So let's say, for example, there's an e-commerce app and the price has updated, right? You would like to show that price has updated while you were trying to make an order, right? So you would like to do that, correct? So this is very handy in those cases. Okay, and that's all is required to make this information pass on to the UI as a flow. My view model is complaining. Now let's see why it is complaining. Hopefully it shouldn't complain now, or you're still complaining. Yeah, again the typo. Actually, I don't need this words context here as well because I have already defined everything here. Okay, so let me simply go and remove this. It's like I know being extra safe, which is not required. Okay, and this, hopefully this is good. Okay, so you see, again with few lines, you were able to do everything. Okay, now I have shown you how to save list. I've shown you how to retrieve the list. Now, but all this, what we are doing is we are doing on the local, right? And there would be definitely 100% chances wherein you would like to share this information on the cloud with someone else as well, right? So now let's quickly connect our mobile app with Realm on the with Atlas device sync. Okay, how we are gonna do that? It's fairly simple. We need to go to cloud.mongodb.com. So I'll just bring another screen here for a second, which is already there. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. You just need to go to cloud.mongodb.com. You need to register your app there. I have already registered. Okay. But when you register, you will see a view something like this. You will see a view something like this. Okay, this is my Atlas cluster, the end place where I'm storing all my data. Since you want to connect it, you can connect it using app services. So I tap on app services. Okay, loading, waiting. Okay. So I accidentally tapped on the app as well, but okay, let me go back. Okay. We need to create a new app. So you can just tap on create new app and you can select the name of the cluster and then press hit create new app. Okay. For now, we'll use the existing app. Okay. Since we need to connect both of them, I need to use this app ID. Okay. And I need to enable my device sync. Okay. Device sync is already enabled for me. Okay. I'm using a flexible sync. Okay. I have made development mode enabled. Why? Because that allows me to automatically save my models which I'm creating on the Android Studio, save it into the Atlas. So I don't have to define the schemas or think how it will be saved into the Atlas. This is all coming out of the box, so you don't have to worry. You can define the fields, querying fields, which I'll be talking a little later. Okay. Basically, this is trying
Mohit,
to tell you which all.
sorry. Mohit, can you zoom in a little bit, please?
Oh, sorry, I forgot about this screen.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Okay, so if you have missed, so what I did, I just selected flexible sync. I've enabled the developer mode as I mentioned you earlier. Then you can select the cluster or the Atlas cloud wherein you would like to save your data. Define the name of the database. I have named it as data share KMM. Then select the querying fields. For now I'm keeping it empty. Basically this is telling the Atlas device sync that how the flexible syncs has to operate, like say for example on which items you would like to query and everything, which we are going to see a little later as well. And then we can define the permissions. Okay. Permissions like say for example who all can read and write your data, right? So for now I have selected user can read and write all data. This is all for the sake of simplicity and for the demo purposes. Okay, I'm not saving those changes. Once we are done, we are good. Let me quickly copy the app ID again. Okay, perfect. Now let me go back to my Android Studio again. Okay, now we want to connect this with uh, cloud, right? So how would I do that? Okay, so first let me create an instance for the app services, right? So I would, it's actually not app services. I'm calling it app service as a variable name because it makes more sense when you're coding. Okay, so I've saying here app data service instance again by lazy. Okay, okay, and then I'll say app.create. Again, it needs one kind of configuration. So I'll say val configuration and this time as app configuration dot uh I'll use create itself. Okay, I don't want to make it complicated for now, and we'll simply paste our device ID here. Okay, and that's all, right? Okay, now simply let me pass this configuration here. Okay, or never mind, what I'll do is I'll use the builder so that I can show you what all other flexible options are there. So I'll use the builder here wherein I'm passing my app ID. And let me use the name variable again so that we know what we are doing. Then you can see I can say my log URL. Okay, logging level, I will say again my log level as all. Let's say for example at some point of time you want to change or rename the database name here as well, so you can do that here as well. Okay, and that's all. Okay, so we have the instance of our app now. Okay, now let me go and change the realm instance. Okay, now pay attention here. See how much change it's actually gonna require. So what I'm going to do is for now I'm just gonna write it just below it and see how long it's, how easy or how difficult it is. So I'm gonna say okay, we want to pass it here. Realm dot open. I need configuration again. So this time we are going to create a different type of configuration. I'm going to create a sync configuration. Oh, something is already there. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm going to call sim configuration. I'm going to use the builder here again. Okay. in the builder again, what it's asking me, it's asking me a few parameters. Okay, user ID, partition value, object ID, blah blah blah. Okay, so what it's asking me, it's asking me what kind of user you are. As you've seen there, we have defined that all user can read and write data, but there could be a different situation as well. So he wants me to specify what kind of user you are. We don't have a user object, we'll get that shortly. Let me define the schema object as well. Okay, we have the schema which we had it earlier. Okay, let me get the user object as well. So for now, I'll say something like this: user. So this is dot current user. Okay. Why? How did I do that? We'll go into that little later. Okay. For now, let us close this loop. Okay. Again, let me write the same things. I'll say realm local. Okay. Or let me say realm cloud. Okay, then let me define my schema version. See, all everything is remains same. I can simply just take it from here and put it here. Okay, so not much changes are required. There is one important change which is required, which we are going to talk now, is the initial subscription. Okay, this is very important. Why? Because this is the place wherein you are actually defining what all data you would like to sync based on the permissions levels you have set. Also, you remember there was a querying field there. With this querying field, it will help you to get the initial set of information. So for now, we don't have any specific query. Okay, so I'll simply add it something like this: realm.add. Okay, my query. Okay, okay, I forgot. Let me do something like this. Okay, it was conflicting there, and I'll simply pass it my self configuration here. Oh, I forgot to build this, so let me build that as well. Okay, that's all. Okay, so you see, it's not very difficult to move from realm local to realm cloud. Actually, it's almost nothing, right? I've just added this one tiny little block. Okay, that all remains the same. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Okay, okay, cool. Now, as I mentioned you earlier, that here we use the current users. And also what we have seen while we were setting up the system there, it needed to understand what kind of users are allowed to change the data. So we need to have some kind of users. You can have your own traditional authentication system with the email, password, uh, or gwt, whatever you want to like to have. And app services provide you that. You don't have to worry about that. But for now, for simplicities, I like to do an anonymous sign in. Okay, so let me do something like this. Okay, I'll say do sign in, and I'll call login function with anonymous details. And this function is being called from the app level when I'm creating my application. Okay, okay, cool, fair enough. I think so. That's all is required for you to sync your data on the cloud as well. Okay, so let me just revert my commit here. Okay, I'm pretty scared why I'm doing demos, so I don't want to mess up anything. So that's why I remoted. But if you'll see, the code is pretty much the same. I haven't changed even a single line. And this is how it is, right? We are able to save the cloud on, we are able to save this local data into the app services and get it back as well. Okay, let me do one more magic here. So here is our app, and here is my Atlas app device. Okay, let me do it something like this so that you can see hand to hand. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the data from the cloud, and I'll try to see what happens when I delete it from the cloud, whether it gets automatically sent on the device as well. Okay, let me share the iOS as well. One device is never fun, right? No, not at the Xcode. The simulator, yeah. Okay, okay. Now you see, I can see this information here. Okay, okay. Let me go and delete one of them. I'll have to do something like this. Sorry. Let me go and delete it. Okay, it's gone. It's gone from everywhere. It's gone from iOS as well. See how quick it is. Okay, that's all is required for you to synchronize your data with Realm and MongoDB. Okay, let me go back to the slides. Let me check my notes whether I have missed anything. Okay, yeah, pretty much I've covered everything. Okay, now let us go back to the slides. Oh, yes, I forgot one important thing. I forgot to show you the iOS code. Okay, let me open the iOS code as well. By the way, I hope all of you are already aware that now you can run the iOS app from the Android Studio itself. Like you can just simply press run and it will run and boot up your iOS simulator. So you don't have to, specifically go to Xcode just to run your simulator. Okay. So here, let me pinch. Okay. I'll change the font here as well. I understand. I think so. I messed up here. Okay. I'm new here, so uh, sorry, I'm very new here.
So the if you go into, if you just click escape,
Okay.
can you just Command plus?
Command plus. Oh, that will do. Oh, how stupid of me.
Yeah. No, not stupid
Sorry.
at all. Just new.
Yeah, I thought I'll have to go to some configuration. I didn't know that I can do it with just the standard default Max shortcuts. Okay, cool. Okay, so here it's almost the same. What we have done is this is our UI layer, okay, which has all the UI logic. I'm not doing anything here. What I'm doing is I'm connecting it with a view model, which I've created here. And this is where all the logic resides, okay? I have an observable view model, okay, which will allow me to cancel the job if I want to at some point of time. For advanced users, if you want to cancel the progress update or something like that, you can do that with us. And then I get my all the information from the UI, something like this, to these state variables, okay, and then I can save it into my user objects. One thing you have noticed that with, uh, on the Android, on the KMM shared code, we were using coroutines, and there's no such concepts of coroutines here. Well, you don't have to worry about that. KMM does that for you out of the box, okay, and it gives you all that information as a callback function. So you see here, all these were there, and it is returning you back as a callback function. Okay, so you can do whatever you want to do on the saving of the object, or if error handling you want to do it. Now let me show you how to get the list of users as well. So you see here, this is how I'm using the flows as well. Okay, with this you can just simply observe all the data which is coming from the Kotlin flow into this Swift. Okay, and this is passed on to your UI. This to this. Where is my list? This. Okay, and rendered on the UI. Fairly simple, almost remains the same. You don't have to change much. Almost the same. Everything is very clean and nice. Okay, so I think so pretty much I have covered everything on the code side. Now let me go to the slides. Okay. Okay. Let me open my cheat notes as well. In the meantime, where are my cheat notes? Okay, I think so. I'll have to go without cheat notes. Okay, fair enough. I'll go with my without my cheat notes now. Okay, so let's do a small recap here. Okay, what we did, we first added a realm into our device, wherein we were able to make changes, make edits. Okay, and all that information was automatically getting synced with Atlas device syncs. Okay, now all this information, when it was getting synced by the Atlas devising, it was doing all the conversions of the ren objects into the documents, because ultimately in MongoDB Atlas you're saving documents. So all this conversion is done for you on your behalf and inserted into the Atlas. Okay, once it's saved there, you can make changes on the Atlas side as well. And once you make those changes are automatically detected by Atlas devisings, converted into the realm object, and pushed into the realm uh, SDK. Once it is received on the device end, we were able to render that information onto the UI. That's all is required to share and build serverless apps with MongoDB and RHEL. Thank you. These are the links for the GitHub repo and the links which I've mentioned you earlier, how to get started with cloud.mongodb. You can scan them and you can check out our documentation, which will help you to get started very quickly. Pamela, now I'm all open to the questions.
So let me have a quick look. So your colleagues, Christian and Angela, have been answering furiously, typing all kinds of questions. So I'm not really sure if there really is anything. We have addressed the issues of samples for KMM view models. I don't really know if there's anything. Let me quickly have a look. I don't think there's actually anything. So with that, a big thank you, Mohit, and your team, Christian and Angela, for making this event happen tonight. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. And let me thank two other folks which are there in the background, Hina and Dominic. Thank you guys as well for sorting this out for us.
Cool. That's all for tonight, folks. I hope you had a great time. If you were new, I will hope you come back next time and experience the magic of Kotlin Multiplatform Mobile again. If you've attended all our other webinars before, remember to be completist and do all of them. Our next webinar is on Thursday at 3 p.m. UTC time. It's where Anna Jarkova will be talking about dependency injection on Kotlin Multiplatform Mobile, and I hope to see you there. With that, folks, I hope that you have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.